How's everybody doing today? Today I just wanted to have a short video and just go over the general functionality of loops. So in C# we've got two types of loops. We've got a while loop and we have a for loop. I'm going to talk about the while loop first. A while loop starts out with a condition. You always need a condition. I declared a variable up here. I called it my counter. I set it equal to 0. My condition is while my counter less than 20. So right now, obviously my counter is less than 20 because I set it equal to 0. Once I start the loop, I get inside the loop, it will continue the loop until the loop is completed. What it does is just very simply it takes the value of the my counter variable and it puts it into a list box. And then it increments my counter. When you have a plus plus after a variable, it means add 1 to that variable. So I'm going to run this just to see what it does. Here it goes. Starts at 0, goes all the way up to 19. Now, you might ask, why didn't it go to 20? Well, the reason is it's because I'm incrementing my variable after I add it to the list box. So the last time it goes through, it increments the variable. Now my variable is 20. It goes up, it meets the condition, and so it bounces out of the loop. If I put this line above this line, it would go to 20. The next loop I have, I just wanted to show you another while loop. It just does something slightly different. It fills my list box with random numbers. So you might remember from our random number video that to create a random number, you use the random keyword. You can call it anything you want. I happen to call this one Randy1 equals new random. So that's how I set up a random variable. Here I set up my loop. Same condition while my counter less than 20. I declare my variable my number and I set my number equal to Randy1 next 100. Now what this does is it will, each time through, it will generate a random number between 0 and 99. Put it into this variable called my number, and then I put my number into the list box. I have a separate variable called my counter, which again I increment each time through the loop, which eventually will meet my condition. So if I run this one, it should select 20 different random numbers between 0 and 99 and put them in the list box. So let's see if that works. Looks like it worked. These are pretty much random numbers. If I hit it again, it will do 20 more random numbers and so on. The next type of loop I have is a for loop. Now the for loop is a little bit different because it pretty much sets everything up in the construct of the loop, meaning the first line of the loop. In the while loop, we've got our my counter being incremented down here. We have our condition up here. In the for loop, it's a little bit different. You pretty much set it up. I say count equals 1. This represents my condition. Count less than or equal to 20. And this represents what I want to happen to the count variable. So if I run this particular one, it does pretty much what my other while loop did, my first while loop, except it starts at 1 and it goes to 20. Now the reason it started at 1 is because in my for loop I started my count at 1. If I started it at 0, it would have started at 0. The reason it went all the way up to 20 is because I've got a less than or equal sign here next to the 20, whereas in my while loop I had a less than sign. The last loop I wanted to talk about is just another for loop. The difference is when you increment your counter variable, you don't have to go up by 1. In this case, I want it to jump up by 5, so I put plus equal 5. That's a way to bump up the counter by 5 each time. So I'm saying start at 0, go up to 100, and bump it up by 5 each time. So if I run through this, starts at 0, bumps it up by 5, I get to 100. Okay, so again, this is just kind of a very general loops video. I'm not really doing anything inside the loops that are overly complex, but it should give you a fairly good understanding of just how to set up a loop. Hopefully this was helpful. We'll see you next time.